Well, here we are. Now tell me, do you feel empowered to live your life on your terms? Hello, Sigurd Cast here. I'm bringing women of expertise together to tell their story and showcase their message because it is time to put more female brands on the map. And today I'll introduce you to Kate Macnamara, counselor, psychotherapist, mentor, and author of Wholehearted Revolution. Hello and welcome, Kate.
Good morning, Sigrid. Thank you so much for having me here.
It is wonderful to have you here because you guide courageous individuals to transform their fears, their traumas, and their limiting patterns into powerful stepping stones in their lives. Tell me what led you to be a transformative psychotherapist.
Oh, that's been quite a long journey, Sigrid. Back in the 1990s, even I always had this yearning to know, how do we really heal? Many approaches helped people to address symptoms that they're experiencing, and often people do need, to stabilize in their mental health. But how do we really heal from the deeper wounds and traumas and create real change in our lives? So that yearning was there for a long time for me. And when I established Jesmeri Counselling Services back in 1999, I began to study more and more all the way through. And that led to quite a deep journey, including writing the trilogy, and then specializing in deep transformative psychotherapy.
Going into that field. So you've done it for a long time, like you said, like I think over 25 years is that total time frame for you, Kate. You created in that time from all that extra studying and learning about it and using, what you learned from and working with clients, I would imagine as well. Did you create like a framework around how you are working with clients? Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, I have. I call it, it's a bit of a mouthful, but I call it the three-tiered wholehearted empowerment process. So it's so important that we're able to meet ourselves where we're at in our everyday lives. Because in our humanity, we have a nervous system, we have reactions, we're feeling beings. So to meet ourselves where we're at, to de-escalate our nervous system if we need to, and that's really important. With anxiety, overwhelm, it means we've activated that flight and flight in the nervous system. And to be able to regulate the extended long out breath is one of the quickest ways to do that, to put the brake on. And then there's a number of ways then we can process what's there. So that's the first level in the three tiers, is how to meet ourselves in the everyday, de-escalate the nervous system, process our reactions or strong emotions, and also how to work with our minds. Then the second tier becomes, how do we actually, like, it's the healing of the causes. And this is where the transformation really occurs. And that's often healing the wounds, the traumas or the impact of trauma that's still in our nervous systems, and our bodies. And also how to heal the deep programming that's often in our minds, the deep misidentifications, such as I'm not good enough or I'm unworthy, or that are there in our mind, that are often formed right from childhood. And when we have repeating patterns in our lives, it comes from those deep schemas. So that's the second tier, is healing the causes. And the third tier is, of course, is getting to know who we really are. As we peel back the layers of the onion, it's, who am I really? And that's deep inside, for people. And then to begin to embody our wholeness, because that's what it's about. It's, how do we really embody our innate wholeness? How do we become truly empowered and to live our real potential? So there is that in framework that people can use for their everyday, but it provides a sense of safety and confidence and competence, then to be able to go as deep as somebody wishes to go.
Mm. Have you found in the time that you're working on this and supporting others to really transform who they are, to
Mhm.
shed those layers, have you just found that there has been changes in how people approach their traumas, their issues when they come to you over that time, Kate?
Oh, absolutely. And it's just absolutely such a privilege to witness the change, people creating the change that they want in their lives. It really is. And to become empowered, to find their true voices, to be able to, you know, create what they want to in their lives or what feels truly right for them. So it's really beautiful. And I think the thing that stands out most to me is the sense of safety they feel within themselves when they're able to work with themselves and the hope it gives them when they know that they can create change. That's really beautiful to see. And I see people come alive with that, and then they're able to move as far as they want to.
Do have outer influences something to do with, I mean, as far as I understand it, traumas are developed very early in our lives usually, but of course traumas can go on top of existing traumas. Does this whole being invisible out in the social media land today so much more, does that contribute in ways to more fear and anxiety for people? Is that something that you find, or is it pretty much from the early roots that really is the anchor of all those issues?
It's different for everybody. Often as we're growing, I mean, childhood trauma affects our nervous system, and our nervous system doesn't have a linear memory like we have. It remembers or however it responded in early childhood, it'll have that vulnerability. For example, in my own life, I was vulnerable to shutting down. And that's the freeze. We escalate past fight and flight, we go into freeze. And of course, at that point I lost my voice. I couldn't advocate or speak. So that goes right back to childhood. And also the forming of that deep programming in our mind occurs in childhood. Yet trauma can occur at any point in our lives. And if there's unresolved trauma, it can really exacerbate that, and it can really bring it all up at once. And of course, that can feel overwhelming to people. And schemas can be triggered, particularly in relationships. The deep fears we have about ourselves are often triggered in our relationships. And I think the other thing that comes to mind, Sigrid, is that our griefs that we have, they compound because grief's a huge adaptation process to any loss and change. And if there's unresolved grief, and then all of us experience change and loss, it will compound and come up as well. So healing and being able to work through what's occurred for us from the past, but also what's triggered in the present is often the most powerful doorway that shows us where we need to go.
That's excellent. So it really is up to us to recognize when something, like you say, a doorway, when that appears for us to go and seek to work with somebody like you. So that gets me to ask you, the book that you wrote, Wholehearted Revolution. Now, you have to tell us more about that. It is a title that instantly makes you think, wow, revolution, that's a big thing. What's to it? What's behind it? Is this from personal experiences? Kate, share, please.
Oh, it's personal experiences are involved in there as an example. Back in 2012, I mean, I'd already been on a journey of studying and practicing and self-work and even a spiritual journey for a long time before then. But in a spiritual experience, I received this message to document what was occurring in my life. And I did begin to do that. Things were going well. I was teaching workshops, running retreats, doing this. It was beautiful. But I began to document, record things, etc. And then, though, I noticed by about 2016, when I began to advocate, about ethics and things, there were times that I was triggered, and again, my voice would disappear. And there were these subtle triggers that I would go into freeze. So that really the first part of the trilogy, I guess, is called the portal. The second one's called the shadows. So there was this calling to go much deeper within myself, and I had this feeling to let go of so much. But letting go is the consequence of healing. We can't just let go. So it took me on a whole deeper dive within myself to heal more deeply, particularly in the nervous system. to free me up. And that did. And then the third part of the trilogy is called The Portal. It opens the doorway then for us to begin to embody our innate wholeness, our real empowerment and our true potential. So that's where it's a very big book. The trilogy's all in one big hardcover, which is in Australia, and it's online as an ebook as well overseas and in Australia as well.
That's always good to be able to get it globally with the with the Kindle version that Amazon allows us to do for a download. That's fantastic. So I'm going to have to ask you now more details on that because it is very interesting and intriguing, Kate. The wholehearted revolution. So you put that journey of your own experiences, your own background, your traumas, what hadn't been healed yet. You put that and use that as the foundation to bring this all together. Is that um, is there a particular uh, focus for you on each of the parts of the trilogy, of each component that you would say for our listeners, viewers, to to look out for? So in the first part, this is the key. In the second part, is that possible to do that, or is it going to be different for each person? Because we do take on things differently, don't we?
We do, we do. I think the first parts are really about instilling hope that we can create healing and change in our lives. The
Mm-hmm.
second part really brings forward the transformation that's needed at a deep level. And so, and the third part begins how that really actually unfolds. So it's quite amazing where that leads to. So I think wholehearted, the word wholehearted, because I've had somebody say to me, what do you call it, wholehearted revolution for? Wholehearted to me, I mean, there's many definitions of it possibly, but to me it means our return to wholeness, our embodied wholeness, our real empowerment, our true potential. And revolution is that deeply transformative process. Something needs to occur within us on all levels to be able to create that real change. So, and yeah, so somebody said to me not long ago, but Kate, isn't it about our evolution? And it's like, but how do we actually evolve in our consciousness and our healing? So that's what the deep transformative psychotherapy is about. It's what the book leads to. And the book includes the themes of real healing, real empowerment, how to do it. So that's sort of in there as well.
I would imagine that you have gone through that journey yourself and then, in a way, recorded it, if I can use that kind of a description for it, throughout the pages of your trilogy. That would have been, like you've already said, freeing for you, bringing about this revolution that you have now really shed the layers, in my terminology, if I can use that. So I love how you have the focus in the first part on hope, because hope is something that can really disappear when we are overwhelmed and stresses come about. Tell
Yeah.
me a bit more about that when people come to you. Is that true? Is hope killed, dead for people these days?
I think, particularly with depression. In depression, there's often a sense of hopelessness, or when people have thoughts of suicide or harming themselves, there's a sense that they can't create the change, or they've tried to at a level of working purely with the mind. But of course, if you haven't created changed the programming deep down or healed the trauma, the patterns will come back. And that's disheartening for people who have been really working hard to do all that they can. And then something happens and everything falls over again. So it's to instill that hope that, yes, even though we can have incredible challenges in our lives, we can come through them. This is the incredible resilience we have as human beings. And also we can connect with our true self, deep within inside of ourselves. And that's what the deep transformative healing allows. We reconnect with our right brain, not just our left intellect. We connect with our heartfelt emotional intelligence, our inner wisdom. So we're able to discern and make choices in our lives through our wholeness, not through fear-based reactions or, yeah.
Is it in people that that recognition moment? I mean, it would be different for each person, absolutely. But is there something that you see recurs over and over that people say to you, this was the moment, this was the trigger to come to you for help, Kate? Is there something like that that you could say?
Yeah, I think people often reach a point where sometimes it's a point of desperation, sometimes they're sick enough, sometimes they're vulnerable and cracked open. You know, grief's one of the most things that does that. It cracks us open to the core. So sometimes the people reach that point of really wanting to do it because I think it takes a lot of courage to go within ourselves. I have great respect for anybody, and it's such a privilege, who are willing to show their vulnerable selves and go within themselves. You know,
Mm.
that's great courage. And yeah, I just really respect that about people.
That they actually come and recognize that there is something that needs to be done and they're not able to do it alone. Now, just want to come back and reflect on this. Safety and grief are huge, huge components of our feelings of our world, that we want to be safe because things change, everything is moving and around us going up and coming back down so quickly. That's a big one. And grief, of course, we sometimes don't even recognize that we are grieving, I believe. And so it's really good to have that acknowledgement and come and get some support from that. The book that you have, Wholehearted Revolution, tell us how people can get that, how they can access it, and what is the best way. And if they have questions on it to come to you, how would they want to connect with you, Kate?
Sure, it's available on Amazon. As I said, in Australia as a hardcover. And if people message me, I've put a coupon into Amazon that there's a 25% off on it with the coupon. So if they message me, I can give them a little code and let them know about that. So, and of course, I have it here in my office as well. But if people have questions about it, on my website as well, you know, which is just jesmery.com.au. We can put that in the comments. If you just click on my name on LinkedIn, it comes up. So you can message me here on LinkedIn or email me or call me if there's any questions or about anything about the counseling or the book.
So let's come to a conclusion around, tell us in your descriptive wording, transformative healing. What does that mean to you? How do you describe that? I think it's a word, it's a description that perhaps we all interpret or understand slightly differently. Your unique approach, which makes it unique to work with you, share that with us, please.
It's really about, you know, doing that deep work to create the real change, the real healing. It's transformative healing and it creates transformation. And that brings about the reunification within ourselves in our wholeness, the restoration of our innate empowerment, you know, and wholeness. So it really is the deep healing process um, to create real change.
I love how you bring these really powerful descriptive words in here that have such deep meaning. Unification, restoration, transformation. I mean, those are huge areas. And I would venture to say we all want that. We just sometimes are not clear enough on how to get there. But those are the areas you certainly touch on in your work with clients, with people that come to you as a psychotherapist, as a mentor, and of course, author of The Wholehearted Revolution. Kate, I'm so looking forward to having you in our upcoming expo for more and deeper explanations. And as you said, your book is available. What would be a parting sentence, couple of words for our audience right now? Anything that comes to mind you'd like to leave us with?
It's to say that we all deserve, like who's listening to this, you deserve to embody your real wholeness, to feel really empowered and to live your potential. Every one of us deserves that. We're worthy of that.
We are worthy and we are all valuable. We have different values within, and they can certainly be transformed for us to bring them out, is what I heard you share with us. Yes?
Yes, we are all unique, and that uniqueness, it's needed in our world today. Secret, if I can just say one last thing, is that, for millennia, humanity has been entrapped in dynamics, and, we still have the same wars happening around our world and suffering. And to create a real change within our individuality, there needs to be this deep healing, but also that affects our collective to create real change as well. So to me, I'm very passionate about the revolution also to create real peace, within ourselves and within our world.
I love that. That is absolutely profound. I'm going to have to listen back to that one because that was wonderful, Kate. I do appreciate your sharing those details with us, sharing that you have this wonderful trilogy on the market for others to access at Amazon or to get in touch with you and ask any further questions for that real deep transformation, because we all play a part in what's happening around the world, whether we think and know that right now or not, but we do play a part. Thank you, Kate, for this wonderful opportunity, sharing who you are and what you stand for.
Thank you so much, Sigrid. And thank you for those, if you're listening, thank you.